James Newbury, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Mate, thank you for having me.
Man, I'm really excited to be here. We're in actually your space, your gym at the moment, and bro, what a beautiful setup.
Thank you. Yeah, it's come from busted walls and you know, no flooring to it's turned out really nice. You know, funny thing about this gym, we actually put this together in 48 hours because the container for all the gear arrived on the Friday and we opened on Sunday.
Geez, you're cutting it close, mate.
We've done this a few times, but it actually turned out quite nice.
Mate, it looks so cool. I was fortunate enough to do a little gym session in here yesterday. You had a good little crew rolling through here.
Yeah. I think post race, like a post HYROX race, being a HYROX specific gym, people really start after the race. You get a big, you know, either a come down or a real high, and a lot of people are now getting ready for Auckland. So people are really kind of ramping up, and then, you know, they got the site set on Brisbane. So there's it's cool to see. I've had a gym since 2013 in Adelaide, but it's really cool to see. I haven't seen it up close and personal for that long, but seeing a beginning crew get together, and then you start making friendship groups. Yeah. Then you start getting into training groups, and then they start going out and, you know, going camping together. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, like they're coming in and they're doing their program, and they're, you know, trying to hustle the next person who walks in the gym to join the program and to, you know, do their thresholds together. It's awesome to see. That's
going to be a really great feel-good thing for you, right? Like you start a gym for yourself, for your friends and crew to come in, and then the flow on, the compounding effect of people coming in, making their own networks. It must be nice to sit back and watch that unfold, hey?
Yeah, it's really cool because I know from experience with Soul in Adelaide, you know, I think from inception, that place has probably been the catalyst for maybe 6 marriages, a couple of kids.
Wow.
You know, like it's pretty cool to bring people together that end up, you know, wanting to spend the rest of their life together. Yeah. And not only are they getting, you know, fitter and having fun with their training and pushing themselves, but they're also finding life partners and having a family.
It's the beautiful thing about fitness and sport and community. And man, I'm keen to talk about all of those things today. Very grateful for having you on, mate. I think there's so many little concepts and themes and places where I want to go today. CrossFit, HYROX, the whole thing.
For sure.
Where do you think your story starts in terms of fitness? Going back, I know you've dipped in rugby league and CrossFit and a bunch of different other disciplines and modalities. Going back, where do you think your fitness journey started?
I think my fitness journey started probably when my dad moved the whole family from Sydney to Adelaide. And the first week we were there, he said, "We're going to get you kids into little A's."
Yeah. Like little athletics.
Yeah. And I was just like, I've been hearing about this for the last couple of months. I'm keen to get started. And that was probably my first introduction to like competition sport. We played soccer prior to that. So myself and my older brother, who's only 11 months older than me. So we're Irish twins. He and I were quite competitive in soccer, in, you know, racing from the back steps to the back fence, and, you know, even, you know, playing PS1 and things like that. But when we got to little A's, I think that's where my hunger for competition grew. That's where my, I guess my killer instinct grew, and that's where I kind of understood the basics of training.
What do you think the biggest experiences that you had when you were in those little athletics, in those junior ranks, when your dad was trying to get you into it? What do you think, was there a couple key experiences that fostered and fueled that competitive edge, do you think? Or where do you think that came from?
100%. There were a couple of key moments that, you know, just sit at the top of my mind and I'll never forget, that really made me go from, I like getting outside and running around, to, no, I want to smash this bloke sitting in the lane next to me. Yeah. So week 2. So, okay, first week of being there, I thought how old was I? I was 7 or 8. I think I was 7. Under 8s, I think I was. I remember getting to the start line of the 70 meter. That was the first event. So the way Little A's worked, and I'm not sure where this is the same goes for everywhere, but there was like week A and week B, and you would just alternate between events and different weeks. First event we had was a 70 meter sprint, and I was lining up with a pair of twins and another fella. And the other kid that was in there was like the president of the Little A's club's son. Yeah. What was his name? Luke. His name was Luke.
Jeez, your memory's gnarly.
Yeah, Luke.
That was wild.
Yeah, and I want to say one of the twins' names was Dylan, but I can't remember. And I lined up and I thought, I'm going to take these guys. Like that was in my mind at 7 years old. Like I raced my brother. I'm a fast kid. I'll make it happen. And then I got whooped. I came last. Like I came 4th out of 4. And I thought, and I was pissed. Like I was sour about it. I wasn't happy. And my dad could tell. And I was like, I don't want to be here. Don't want to do this. Don't want to do this thing. Like this sucks. And then we went and did discus, sucked at that. Then we went and did high jump, sucked at that. And then the whole experience was terrible. Like I was like, I lost everything. In my mind, I'd lost everything. Losing was bad. I don't want to go back.
Dad, I'm not going back to Little A's.
Yeah. And he goes, mate, I think you should go one more time. I think you should go back again next week. Anyway, come full circle. Went back next week. I'd actually made a friend at the new school I was at that week. Her name was Steph. She went on. Now, I'm just going to touch on this. She went on to be Olympic champion, gold medalist at the Olympics in sprint cycling. She was one of our greatest sprinters of all time.
That's so impressive.
But her dad said to me the next week, hey, she was underage like me. We were in year 3, I think, at the time. And she was in the girls group and I was in the boys group. But he came up to me just out of nowhere. And he said, I watched you run your race last week before Steph. I've got a couple of tips for you. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I listened to this guy and he just said, when you're running, don't look from side to side. Don't look at the person next to you. Just like take a spot at the end of the race, like through the race, look at the trees. Don't take your eye off it and like be up nice and upright. Don't lean over, be nice and upright. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to take this guy's advice. I'm just going to look at the end of the race. This was 100 meters. Look at the end of the race. Check it out. Don't take my eyes off it. Going to stay up nice and tall. I just did what he said and I ended up winning. So I went from, and I raced the same 3 kids. So I went from coming last to blitzing it. And I was like, what happened in the space of a week? And so in my mind, I thought that little bit of advice was all I needed to go from losing to winning. It's like, where else can I put this? Can I put this into high jump? Can I put this into discus? Can I put this into something else? And then that trickled throughout the rest of my life. Like if all I need is one bit of advice or one learning experience, like can I go from essentially sucking to being great?
Do you think that experience is sort of, because I look at you now as someone who's constantly learning and constantly looking for the little edge, whether that's in sleep, recovery, supplements, whatever the thing is. Do you reckon you're pretty open at taking advice and feedback?
Super open-minded to all feedback, all experiences, because you never know. Like if you're closed off to those experiences, you might be just one bit of experience from somebody else away from unlocking something super cool.
Yeah.
Like, and you just don't know. And it's almost like that, you dig and dig and dig and dig, and then you quit like 6 inches from gold.
Yeah.
Or whatever it works out to be. And I think you might be one cue away from figuring it all out. So yeah, just learn as much as you can, absorb it all and have an open mind to other people's experiences.
And then tell me, when you're still in that age of like early teens, you're still in little age, you're still going through it. Talk to me about the training piece. When did, I guess, learning how to train or investing time into training and understanding that actually putting in the work was going to make me a better athlete?
Yep.
When did that sort of come into the piece?
So that probably kicked in, I would say, about a year into Little A's.
Yeah.
So my only training experience was going to Little A's on a Sunday. Yeah. So spend the whole week going to school, riding the bike, building jumps at the local, vacant block.
Yeah.
And then I would just go Sunday morning, would go and do Little A's, and that was the training, 1 day a week. And then I made it to States and I competed and I got some 6s, got some 5ths, got some 7ths. I probably come last in a couple of events, but I would register every event. If I qualified, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it all. And I remember coming, I think it was 5th in the 200 meters, and my dad, and I was a bit bummed about it. Yeah. I remember leaving going, oh man, that sucks. Like I'm used to winning. I'm used to because after that one day, I don't think I lost a race there from that day. And I remember getting to States and thinking, man, there's like these other 4 or 5 kids faster than me. Like they're the best of their club. Yeah. I want to be the best of all the clubs. And Dad said, mate, you got to be proud of yourself for coming 5th and all you do is train once a week. And I thought, train once a week? Like I didn't put, at that particular age, I didn't know what training was. I was like, are going to practice. It's like you're going to practice something.
Yeah.
And Dad said, imagine if you actually committed to training. And I was like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
And I kind of
What's
said,
training?
What's training?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, essentially what you do on a Sunday morning, you do throughout the week, each night. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, that makes sense. And he goes, the more you do it, the better you get. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I sat there and thought about it. And probably about a week later, I said to Dad, oh, look, I really want to try this training because I want to win this thing next year.
What's all this training thing getting around here?
Yeah. And I said, so like, what does that involve? And he goes, well, we can set you up. Instead of just going to Little A's and running a 100-meter sprint for time and doing it once, we might set you up some, 70 meters, some starts, and you might do like sets of 5 or sets of 6 and just repeat it and practice it and get it better. And then I remember him saying, and I said, okay, cool. So when you come home from work at 5 p.m, can you make me train? Can you like come and grab me and then take me out there and make me train? He goes, Matt, if you want to do it, if you want to train, you'll do it yourself. I said, I'll set you up the track. I'll measure the track in the street. I will set you up. So he actually set me up like on a pole like this.
Yeah.
He set me up a fishing rod, an old fishing rod that we weren't using, that had a bit of fishing line coming through it and it would hang down, and he put like this little bit of plastic on the end and it was strapped to it with a alligator clip.
Yeah.
And he said, what I want you to do is I want you to practice your high jump run up and tap it. And when you tap it 3 times in a row, you can wind the fishing rod up just a little bit, so you have to jump a little higher. So they were the types of things Dad set up for me in the backyard. And then he got me a shot put, and then he set me up a shot put area in the backyard, and then, put some gravel in there so I could land the shot put, and I would practice, and he gave me like a measuring tape so I could measure it.
Man.
And so then kind of just got obsessed with like playing this training thing. And then, I would go out and I would throw the shot put 20 times and go inside. And then, I might go out and practice my high jump. And then he might from time to time just say to me, you practiced today or have you trained today?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't force me to do it. And he said, if you want to do it, you'll commit to doing it yourself. And that was something that I took on board thereafter. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to run on the Monday and I'm going to run on the Friday, and I'm going to practice my field events during the week. And then I'm going to go to Little Athletics and I'm going to put it to the test.
Why do you think that he was a little bit not standoffish, but letting you make your own mistakes or letting you do it yourself? Why do you think you framed it like that?
I think he's an intelligent guy, and he's pretty savvy with, in some way, maybe psychology to a degree, but I think he also wanted to instill some good habits for me without, he was never one to just give you the answer. He would want to dangle the carrot for you to understand it yourself. I guess he figured that was a better learning experience than just giving you the way out. And there were some people that I was competing against at the time as a 10-year-old at Little Athletics, and their parents would force them to train, and really crack the whip.
Yeah.
Even some of my really good friends, their parents would force them out of bed at 3:30 in the morning to go swim laps before school and go again after school. Yeah. My parents were not like that. They were just like, if you want to train, you'll do it. We'll drive you there if you want to go. If you want to be somewhere or do something, we'll make sure you can get there, but you're going to have to motivate yourself. And that was good. I
always wondered which is the better avenue to go, because from your experience, I imagine, well, that's so awesome. Like, I would have loved to have the environment like that, because I was very opposite. My parents were very much like, you're going to swim training, you're doing clubbies. And I remember driving to swim training and being like, what parent would make their son get up at 3:30 in the morning to go swim 6-7 Ks in the morning?
I know.
And I hated it. Yeah. But looking back on it now, so grateful, because that's allowed me to do Ironman, surf life save, even surfing. Like, I wouldn't have been as comfortable in the water, in the ocean, in big swell if I didn't do surf life saving and swim club. So looking back, I'm like, I'm so grateful that happened. So I wonder if there's it must just be purely individual, right?
I think it's luck.
Yeah.
I think it's luck, because I had some really talented friends that were, they would hold state records for backstroke or freestyle. But now they will not touch the pool because they're just scarred from it. Yeah. Whereas mine were the opposite, and they would support everything. They would want to be there. And, seeing my dad watch me play footy as a junior, he lapped that up. Yeah. And I guess it could have fallen either way. If, I could have been the type of kid that, or take my brother, for instance. My brother was a super talented athlete, very fast, much faster than me. Like, he was a whippet. And he was encouraged to some degree just as much as me, but he didn't hit his stride sprinting until he was at high school. But I would beat him during primary school all the way up until he kind of hit puberty, and then he was rapid. And then he he would just rock up to sports day. He would clean up. Then he would go to, inter-school, clean up.
It's so annoying, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not train at all.
Yeah.
And he would just work. He would just work and he would just rock up and kill it. And, and then since then he's been like super fit. He's done a bit of CrossFit. He's played touch foot, like good touch footy player. But he was like, he didn't take to sport as much as me. Like I really sunk my teeth in it because I guess I saw pathways to live the life I kind of wanted to live from an early age. I guess that's the way I saw it, is I want to figure out a way I can do the things that I enjoy on a regular basis without people telling me what to do for the rest of my life and create a career from it. And that was what I wanted to do. So I kind of pursued that, but I think it's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
It's just unknown. And again, maybe I could have flourished with, someone waking me up at 3:30 in the morning and making me swim. I don't know if that would have made me better or worse, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, the building environments piece is super interesting. Like the way your dad set up the backyard with the shot put, with the high jump. I did a podcast with Mark Matthews. I think I was telling you this morning on the ride, and it's so great because the way he really subtly ingrains little environments or little things to help his daughters go out and surf. Like, because he's just like, I don't care what they do. I don't care if they surf. For me, selfishly, I would love if they surf just so we can go on like family holidays and everyone's surfing. Yeah. So what he will do is at home, he'll turn the thermostat up like really high so it's hot. Yep. And so the young girls will come out and say, Dad, it's so hot. Like, let's go out surfing. He's like, yeah, okay, all good. And he'll like almost choreograph this environment to make it so that they want to surf. Even when they're at the beach, he'll take down all the boards, all the wetsuits, like the wax leggies, everything, just in case they're like, oh, actually, it would have been so good to surf, but I don't have my board. He's like, oh, no, the board's here. Like, go out and surf. Like, he's just creating this like really beautiful environment for the kids. And I was like, that's really cool.
I can see you doing it, and I can see me doing it too. It's like every which way that I'll structure the day is just leading them, just unknowingly leading them to what think that they will benefit from, or something that you think they will get a good kick out of. And I think it's like I'm glad I found a group of people when I was young that were keen to train. Yeah. I think that was another big bonus. Like where I lived, we had a really good like national level kayaker, like sprint kayaker. We had good swimmers, good footy players. We had, people that were great at surf, like, state champion surf life-saving crews. Yeah. So we had a good mixed modality of athletes kicking around our area. So that was good. So I think that kind of instigated, everyone had a bit of friendly competition, even though we didn't essentially compete in the same sports all the time. We're all in the gym, we're all in the water, and we all lived, 800 meters from the beach.
Do you reckon that helps with accountability?
For sure. Yeah. Because if you knew that this other bloke that's in your year that you're good friends with, but let's say they're training for surf lifesaving and you're training for rugby league, you're still like comparing bench press at school every other week, and you're like, oh, did you hear what this guy got, and did you hear what he got? And then I was always keen just to compete, like sprinting, lifting weights, and even just be like, we would have this sand dune run down where we lived, right at Southport, and it'd be like, oh, did you hear what someone got through the dunes the other week? It's like, oh, they ran it in like 4 minutes. Yeah. Like, oh, sick, I'm gonna go do that. But I always found those like types of competition, I'd thrive on competition. And if someone was one-upping me, I would not quit until I figured out a way to improve.
Do you think accountability and discipline can be learned, or do you reckon we've just got that innately in us?
I think it definitely has to be fostered. I think people can learn those traits. Yeah. But I think you have to. I think people will be disciplined to the things that they enjoy. Yeah. Like, let's just take. Well, for me, I was disciplined because I really enjoyed sport, and I'm super disciplined in that respect. I'm disciplined with my food because I know it supports sport. I think people that are, say, like on the opposite end of the spectrum, that some people are very disciplined when it comes to honing their craft, so like whether they're playing video games or driving race cars or riding motorbikes. I think you just got to figure out what your fire is, what your passion is, and then you'll be disciplined if it really matters to you. Yeah. It just really depends on what triggers you as a kid, and I think you can foster. But hey, again, like we said, later in life there are some things that you can get good at too. Yeah. And I think the discipline is learned early, and you build you build a set of skills, and you understand that commitment, consistency, and honing your time and making sure you're making the most of your time will build good foundation for whatever you want to get good at.
Yeah, because I think about the people who might be listening to this conversation, right? Might be the young athlete who has been super disciplined throughout their whole childhood, the whole like sporting early days, and they might have that discipline compared to the person who might just be starting to get into running or get into HYROX, and they're like, their internal versions of themselves might be like, oh, that's not for me. Like that might not be something I've got in me until they learn it. And so I'm constantly thinking, well, can this be learned as we get older? And I think I love what you said around, well, if you really care about it and you really like it, then you'll do the work.
You will.
To be able to get where you want to go.
I can say hands down that my girlfriend, Lauren, she didn't get into sport until she was 30.
Wow.
And she's almost, she'll be turning 32 soon. And she's taken to it like nothing else.
Really? Why is that?
I think.
What was the shift, do you think?
I think it's just the fact that, I think she was genetically just athletic, but she never did, she did a bit of swimming when she was like 12 years old. Yeah. She did a bit of touch at school, but she never trained. Yeah. Like she went to the gym, like everybody, went to the gym and worked out a little bit. She was introduced to the gym by her sister. And then during her 20s, she was working. Yeah. Like she was just working and she was going to the gym in the morning just like anyone would. Yeah. But then now she's stuck into running at 30 years old and she's seen huge progression. She went from running I think our first run together, she ran maybe 1,500 meters and called it quits. Wow. And now she's running, near 40-minute 10Ks.
She do in Sydney when we first met, she do the half marathon there? She did the full marathon?
She did the full.
She did the full?
Yeah.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
How's that progression?
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ran in 4 hours.
What the hell? That's so wild.
That's and that would have been less than 18 months after she started running.
I was telling you this morning, I think that's how we first came across each other. Was my partner saw Loz's progression from just running, because I think she must have been documenting it when she did the running mechanics, and she went through the whole process of actually putting in the work. Like she fully put in the work. Yeah. From what my partner saw it, and then she was telling me about it because she wanted to get into it. Yeah. And then she started her own running journey. So it's cool to see almost documenting someone's journey, because it's it can be inspiring, right? 100%. And I love the way she's showing up on socials, because it is inspiring, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think what can be taken from that is that if you do have a goal in mind, it's achievable. And the one thing I'll say is that she did very, very well is that she was just consistent and she had a fun time doing it. Yeah. No session was a drag, no session. And nowadays, now that she's starting to look for 1% gains here and there, you're it's oh, okay, we're about to run threshold. They're going to be rough as guts. Yeah. But this internal fire inside you is just kind of I'm nervous about how hard this is going to be, but I'm also a bit excited to see if I can do it. And I think that is something that she's developed, and she's created this drive to want to progress and get better. And I think she'll also take inspiration from other people that she sees, running, Elite 15 or running marathons or doing Ironman, and she'll be like, that looks really cool. I'd like to experience that. And she's an experienced person. So, and which is why I think we suit each other so much, is that I'm all about the experience, whatever it may be, whether it's a hard physical task, or whether it's a really tough mind journey, building a business or something like that. Yeah. But either way, it's all about the experience. And if we can collect tons of those, and we're stoked.
Is it hard for you to not jump in and give all the advice and all the things? Because as men, we just want to fix things, right? We're like, why don't you just do this? Yeah. Are you conscious of that?
I am definitely conscious of it, because I'm very much as a coach as well, I very much want to help them bypass some of the things that could handbrake you for months on end. Yeah. So if I know that doing a particular or having a particular trait is not going to serve them long term, I want to squash that trait straight away. And I say, hey, look, been there, done that. This will not work long term. And you want to give them the answer, but I also need to take some of my dad's advice and maybe just dangle the carrot instead. Gotcha. Or be there just to listen, or create a Mark Matthews situation and just situate the day to go towards something else. But there are some things that I feel like you can bypass, hey, if your knees are getting sore, we need to work on some ISOs or some static holds. And, that's fine. They can take that on the chin. But some of the other things where it's just like they want, like if she wants to do some particular type of session because she likes it or it's on repeat, but I know it's probably not going to get her the fastest time, I kind of just want to get in there and be like, just stop.
Yeah.
But I also know that there is a journey that she has to take too, and it's all part of it. And they're the things that she can talk about.
It's so good. It's but it can be difficult for us, right? I remember I had a very similar conversation with my partner, and she was struggling with this thing. I kind of remember it was so dumb, and I was like, well, why don't you do this? And I think it's just like, when you're in a relationship dynamic, it's like, I'm not listening to you. Like, I'm just on my own journey. I was like, oh, yeah, do what you got to do. Yeah. And the very next day, her sister said the exact same bit of advice. She's like, oh my God, like my sister said this and it worked. And I was like, that's so interesting. And then all of our mates are around that brought it up, and we just laughing. I was just like, well, that's just part of the play, right?
Sometimes it just can't come from you.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, and I guess it's the same way. Like, I know Lauren's really good at putting things in perspective. When I'm super stressed with work and I've got a million things on the plate, all I want to do is knuckle down and just get it done. Like, I could go into complete silence for a whole week and just get work done, not a problem. But then, my training will suffer, my nutrition suffers, and I could get to 3 p.m. and not have eaten because I'm just so fixated to my detriment to some degree on getting stuff from the start to finish as quick as possible. A to B, let's go. And she's good at letting me feel what I need to feel for a period of time and being like, hey, look, you're a much better person day to day. You will work better if you get your training done, get your nutrition in check. And she brings me back to ground zero, which is good because I need to be brought back sometimes because, again, I will just work and go silent for time just to get it done because that's how I operate. If there's a task at hand and I know, like, here's the goal, okay, like what are the stepping stones I need to take to get to that end goal? And I will just lock in like no tomorrow and nothing gets in that way. But again, I also need to stop and, smell the flowers too.
I heard you say on another podcast, it was around consistency, and very similar when you're in the thick of it. You said you've cracked the code. Do every part to the best of your ability. Don't let a low energy day affect the point where you can't attend the session. Get through the session regardless. Come back the next day with a better attitude. So how do you roll through something when you are so in the thick of it? You probably have different business things going on, but you still want to train at a really high level. Still got to get the session done.
Still got to get it done.
Yeah.
Like, simple as that. And I think the thing that pulls up the handbrake for most people that, could be just on the cusp of cracking the code is they think everything needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
If you don't have a perfect day or a perfect session or a perfect lift, the rest of the day's out the door or you start to lose interest. But the one thing, and this is, I guess, taking some advice from someone who I can draw some inspiration from, Michael Phelps. I heard him talk in person, and he said and when he said this, I was like, yes, I have been doing this without thinking about it. And Rich Froning said a few things here and there. OG CrossFitter, if you guys don't know, he said a few things and I was like, yeah, I've been doing that, like not really thinking it was a big deal, but obviously it's a big deal to him and it works. But I remember Michael Phelps saying that he was just so consistent. Every day that he wasn't in the pool would be 2 days he would have to catch up on.
Yeah.
So he made a point of just, he swam like every day for 5 years. He was in the pool every day.
Yeah.
Just made it happen. And the days where he wasn't feeling so red hot, that might be a day where you tone it down 15% or 20%, whatever it may be, to keep the mental in check or to keep the cold from coming on stronger.
Yeah.
But he would be in the pool anyway. So I was like, I've seen that work for me in the past. That's really just cemented for me that how big consistency actually works. And then another year rolls around or another season rolls around. I was like, okay, this season, my one goal, no matter what, the number one priority for this season is consistency.
Yeah.
And when I've done that every single year, no matter whether the week might be a bit off or the session might be a bit off or the rep might be a bit off, or one event at a competition might be a bit off, just like be the most consistent worker here, outwork everyone and out session everyone. They're the years that I crushed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and then once you do it and you get that feedback, lean into the feedback. You'd be stupid not to.
But what happens when the days where you just can't do it? where like sleep might have been, you know, you might not have slept, you might have a little baby sleeping, or you might have like this little niggle injury, and you're like, oh, would it be better to do just like an hour and a half on the bike instead of a speed session? Like, are there days? Do you have those days?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And I will say that there's always something you can do.
Yeah.
There's always, if you're underslept, I guess it depends on the degree of the underslept, but there's always something you can do. If you're getting a niggle in the knee, hey, jump on the ski erg and bust out your threshold session on the ski erg.
Yeah.
Or if you're, and this is the thing, people will look at an injury or a niggle or a cold as a handbrake.
Yeah.
Treat it as just something you have to go around rather than something that stops you in your tracks. Because if you get, let's say you call it 4 colds a year and you're taking 3 or 4 days off per cold, it compounds.
Yeah.
And not only it compounds in the days, but it compounds in the motivation thereafter to get back into it. Like how long does it take for you to get back on? Just like Michael Phelps said, if he was out of the pool, he'd have to catch up on 2 days.
Yeah.
So I would always say there's always something you can do.
Yeah.
There's always something you can do. If you're underslept, okay, cool. We're going to work on something that is skill-based. Like if you're training, let's call it HYROX. Training for HYROX, instead of going and running your 10 by 4 minute thresholds, you might work on wall balls for 12 minutes in an EMOM with just low intensity. You might work on some core strength. You might work on some isometrics. There's plenty of stuff you can do. And I think people, they get caught up in their own mind and they'll find ways to avoid the training.
Yeah.
Even though it's the goal. The goal is to go and compete at Worlds, or the goal is to go win Worlds. Your mind will play tricks on you and it'll give you reasons to not go. And the person who can combat that the best, you'll probably be one of the best in the world.
How do you combat that? Because we all have these thoughts. All of us. We all have that little thing. And you're like, and it can be so real. It can be so much like, oh no, like you've got that little niggle, like maybe you should pull it back.
Yeah.
How do you battle those thoughts?
So in the past, I might have taken advice from someone who said, hey, if you're underslept by, if you get 6 hours of sleep or less, don't go into the gym, don't train. Might have taken their advice and gone, okay, cool. And then I'll rock up at the next competition and I'm underdone. And I'm like, no thanks. And I just cut it straight away. I understand that that is not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to what has worked. So again, when you find the recipe for yourself that works, lean into it. And I know I will be a better athlete if I train every day.
Yeah.
And I'll know that I'll be a better athlete if I cut away the things that stop me or get in the road of getting in the way of the training session.
The consistency thing for me, it sounds like don't just go in and jump in and do the exact same session if you're underdone. Find the alternative if that's the reality.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be completely cooked from something that you didn't expect to cook you that much.
Yeah.
And, you know, if that's the case, you can rotate a day. You know, take the easy day the next day and bring it forward, and then run the hard session the next day. But when you look at the week itself, if you're missing sessions during that week, how bad do you want it?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
that simple as that,
Yeah,
really.
man.
Like how bad, like how fast do you want to go? Like
Yeah.
you'll get around, but you might be 30 seconds slower, and I want to be 30 seconds faster. It's like, how bad do you want it?
100%. That training harder versus training smarter concept is so interesting, and I love talking about it. My coach for Ironman, Craig Alexander, one of the OG Ironman guys, won a few world champs in Hawaii, and just like he was the guy. And the best bit of advice that he gave me was just like, it's all about consistency. If you can just not get injured and show up, you will go leaps and bounds further than you think you can. It's like if you're sick, if you don't think you can do the session that's programmed, jump on the bike and do something.
Yep.
Like super love it. Even if you jump in the pool and just do something, don't miss the session.
Yep.
Which was so incredible. And then you like get to race day, you have an incredible race, and you're like, huh,
That's it.
This is the best feeling in the world.
It's
you know
all
what
worth
I mean?
it.
It's so worth
It's
it.
all worth it. Like plenty of time. And I will say, and before I go on to this next point, but I will say that that if you really want to become elite, I think when you go from being like good to great and then great to like elite, like untouchable, is when you start to cull the things that will hamper those reasons why you feel like you need to modify the session. So for instance, let's just say you're working a full-time job, and you also want to go to Kona, and you're doing your swim, bike, and run. You'd be pretty consistent. Like you don't miss sessions. You're really, really good. But then you get to a day where work, like you've had a week of work, and work is like asked more of you than what you expected, and you're feeling a bit down, and you have to modify 3 sessions in a row because you're feeling a bit burned.
Yeah.
I think you then get to the elite status by starting to understand, okay, maybe this job is not for me if I have to sacrifice sessions, and that's the difference. You can still go and compete as a pro over there, but maybe you're not sitting on the podium. And I think that's the difference between sitting on the podium and not. It's like you start to then really push away the things that aren't conducive to sitting on a podium.
Yeah.
And there's no balance. When you're sitting on a podium, there's no balance in your life. No matter how much people say there's a work-life balance or a sport-life balance, if you're sitting on the podium, likely not that much. And you just got to have the people around you that are along for that ride as well. I can't remember the other point I was going to add on to that, but I think that's when you go from being like great and like being like top 1% in the world to then like really nudging in, the greatest that there ever was.
Over your career, the last 10, 20 years, what do you think are the best attributes that makes the best of the best, the elite, as you were saying?
I definitely think they have, I think the best of the best, they know how to say no.
Yeah.
Like saying no is number one. Like if you can say no to things, that'll catapult you straight to the top. I think the other attribute is you got to really love the process of building yourself. Like you've got to really love that process. It's got to like, it doesn't have to make you jump out of bed every day, but you've got to be a passion.
Yeah.
You got to be passionate about sticking to the process. Like you got to be so driven in that process. So people who have this, what do you call it? I guess it's a consistency aspect, but they treat every day. They treat their body, their mind, their day like this passion project that no one gets in the way of. They're the most consistent people on the planet. They do not get distracted.
Yeah.
They're laser focused, and I think the laser focused aspect is it's definitely right up there too. Focused, consistent. They have an ability to say no, and they do not get caught up in, I guess, what most people these days get caught up in, all of the little nuances on day-to-day life that cause people to talk or to gossip or to distract. They have a really good they have a really good way of excluding that out of their life.
Yeah.
Because when you're wanting to be number one in the world or number one in the country or whatever it may be, you kind of need to be a little bit, how do you call it? You got to be, you're not, it's hard for people to understand.
Yeah.
Like it's very tough for people to get you. Like if you want to be number one in the world, be prepared to be misunderstood by a lot of people. They just won't get it. They won't get it.
It's kind of like being number one and being at the elite status. It's probably not for everyone.
No,
it's only for the top 1%ers, right? And you look at all the things that people have to sacrifice. Like even if you were to do a thing, like if you want to be, for example, like be the best podcast in the world, it's like, yeah, you can do that. But the amount of sacrifice and misunderstandings and things that you want to pass in, that's the reality. Even for me, I would love to be a great podcast. I don't need to be the best podcast. I've had that conversation with myself where I'm not willing to put my family, my partner, my friends to the side because I want to be so selfish and do this thing. I would love to get to a really beautiful point where we're the best podcast in Australia. That'd be great. But podcast in the world, that would require way too much of what I'm willing to give up. But it's just a conversation with yourself, I imagine, right?
100%. And I've said this to a lot of people. It's like you will have some people that'll make it to here, and then they'll go, yeah, not for me. Then you'll have some people who go a bit further and get to here and go, yeah, not for me. And then every stage you get to and every level you increase to, more sacrifice becomes more prevalent. And you need to get to the point where it sits well for you. And then you might get to a stage and you might struggle with it for a bit until you've had that conversation with yourself and you go, you know what, I am willing to sacrifice more and be more selfish and direct all of my intent on myself and getting this goal done, and you will just push on through. Or you might get to one of these stages and then something else doesn't work for you, like you get a bad injury or something happens and it just is forced upon you. But I can tell you that each one of those stages that you get to, no matter whether it's, you know, a state level competition, a national level competition, or international level competition, it's every point at which you get to leads you onto the next path. And at the end of the day, every path leads you to something fresh and something new and something that is going to be cool for you.
Yeah, but it's kind of like there is that stigma around, like, if you're not going to be the best and if you're not going to do it, then what's the point?
Yeah, that is very true, but I feel like that's a very I don't know, maybe old school or closed mindset, because
I agree.
I love dabbling in stuff and I love sucking at stuff
Yeah,
too. Like I freaking love sucking at stuff because it just is an opportunity for me to grow and get better.
Yeah.
But it's also an experience that, you know, when we all first start out, we may not be, you know, elite in the beginning, but those newbie gains you get, that's the excitement.
It's cool, hey?
And then you get to do it all again, and then you find something fresh and you do it all again. And I guess when you know, if you want to be, you know, Usain Bolt, and you want to just run this, you know, sub 10-second race to the best of your ability, that is very, very, very focused. Whereas maybe I would enjoy that if I was that quick or had the ability to do that. But as it stands at the moment, I've lent into kind of what works for me, which is dabbling, learning. And I think probably what's helped me the most, or one of the I guess one of the best traits that allowed me to be moderately good at a few different things, is the ability to understand that sucking is like momentary, and I can be good at whatever I set my mind to. And I think my dad instilled that to me when I was like 15. At the time, I had the opportunity to move into state and play football, and I really wanted to go. And he was just like, mate, look, you're 14, 15 years old. To be honest, you could take your pick right now at a handful of sports and you could become very good at any of them. And I was like, really? That doesn't make sense to me. And I think he just gave me that confidence boost to know that whatever I really wanted to lend my hand at, I would be obsessive compulsive until I figured it out. Like right now, like I kind of just want to learn to play the piano. And
that's so left field. I wasn't expecting that at all. That's so cool.
I really just want to learn how to play the piano. I don't have a musical bone in me at all, but I just, because I don't, I'm just like, I wonder if I could. And I know I could. I know I would just obsess over it and be compulsive about it until I got decent.
Yeah, right.
And I know it's something I really want to do.
So why did you put your focus into rugby league and then put your focus into CrossFit and now HYROX and business and other different adventures? Like, how do you know personally where to put your focus?
I think it's tough because everyone has their own motivators. And I think my motivator in the initial phases was, you know, seeing my dad stoked, me scoring tries, playing footy, getting to come to state carnivals and watch me play and watch me break the line, and I like to get huge kicks out of that, like that stuff. And to then talk about it with him after the game on the car ride home was cool for me. Like I loved that. Like that was like some of my fondest memories. So I think it was maybe just external praise and feedback kind of like instigated the push into being good at something. And someone asked me like, hey, what was your favorite event at the games? Like, what's your favorite, most memorable favorite event? And I was like, the one that I won. Yeah. I could have hated doing it. Yeah. Like the event itself doesn't fire me up that much, but because I won it, that's my favorite. And I've always been like that. If I'm good at it and I can excel at it, and I get this internal validation from myself, it's like you committed to the process of doing something you disliked on a regular basis, and you pushed through and you overcame, and now you've succeeded. Awesome. And then everybody else is like, you did that really well. It's like, yes. So I'm getting like this kick from both. I'm getting this internal, you've committed to a thing and you've seen it out, you've improved, and you've shown yourself that committing to something and having purpose has yielded these results, and it's always been worthwhile. and then everybody else is giving you the same kind of feedback too, and it's just like that feels good. So I guess it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But for me, like getting into rugby league, like I just enjoyed scoring tries, and I enjoyed like lighting up the field, and I enjoyed demanding the team to be better and getting them to move around and just to be better, like improvement. And then when I got into CrossFit, I guess because I had, liked to push myself with no, like, it's almost like training for training, but pushing myself, I'd 3K time trial every Friday night because I liked it. And I just wanted to try and just beat it by 5 seconds, And getting into CrossFit, that's what you needed. You just needed the ability to sustain discomfort for extended periods of time. And that I loved. Like, beep tests every day, let's go. And I loved it. I loved that stuff. And I only did it because it's like when I push myself to that degree and I'm like dying, like struggling to hold on, my body's gone numb, can't really feel much. And then I get the result and I don't know, when I first did the beep test, like 13.1, I was like, oh, that was amazing. Yeah. During it was like death and I hated it, but you're pushing and then you finish it and you're just like, let's go again. So I think that type of push got me into CrossFit because that's what you needed. You needed grit, you needed skill, you needed flexibility, you needed drive, you needed strength. I had all those things sitting there ready to rock and roll. And because I was getting good feedback from people that were watching me do it, it's like, you're doing pretty good at this thing and you haven't been doing it very long. It's been 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Like, what's next? Like, what's the best out there? And it's like, oh, we've got this thing called the CrossFit Games. I was just like, oh yeah, what's that about? And they're just like, oh, you get to actually compete. It's like, compete? Cool. So it's like kind of like what we do in the gym, but you get to do it against all the other best people. I was like, this is lays all over again.
I'm back, baby.
Friggin', let's go. And I was like, so what are they lifting? What are they running? And I was like, pretty close to that. Pretty close to that. It's like, okay. And then as soon as I got that feedback, kind of like what my dad gave me, I got it from my coach at the time. He said, if you wanted to be at the CrossFit Games, you could. And I trusted him. He was a commando in the army. He was like this big burly fella. And he was just like, yeah, you could be there if you committed some time to it. And I was like, I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the trigger. And I lent into training for it from then on.
Obsessed.
Obsessed. Like every day obsessed. I would create workouts in my front yard. I'd be skipping and running kettlebells around the streets and shit. It was crazy.
Do you think we have to be good at something in order to love it and to stay with it for a long period of time? Because I know we've tossed around like passion and building the life that you want, and know like CrossFit was a huge part of your life for an extended period of time. Do you think being good at it, do you think that helps us with the passion?
I think it does help, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not the case.
Yeah,
I'm a shit surfer.
Yeah,
but I fucking love it.
Hey, you and me both, brother.
But I love it. I love it. Like,
that's interesting.
I have to say my fondest memories in my entire life, I have to pinpoint a few. Some of them, like the top one, surfing with my mate Luke out at a 2.5 foot break on the mid coast of Adelaide.
Gotcha.
Like on sunset, no one else out there, just chilling, no cares. And I don't really know what it is, and I've said this before. I think it's just the fact that because I occupy my time so much with tons of stuff just because I need to be focused on something. I need to be getting better at something, whether it's spending the morning getting better at coaching or spending the midday getting better at business or spending the afternoon getting better at training. I need to be always on the go.
Yeah.
I like that lifestyle. I enjoy it. And when I'm out surfing, you do not think of anything else. You don't think of anything else.
Yeah.
You do not sit there and think, like when you're riding the wave, if you're sitting there and there's no waves coming through, you're kind of thinking, oh man, I've got to go to work on Monday or whatever it may be. But when you're actually surfing the wave, everything goes.
Yeah.
Like you're just completely lost in it because you want to make that wave the best thing, and that you're so intentional. You don't think of anything else. And I think that's what I like about it. And I also get to share that time with good friends, and you have laughs, you talk shit, and it's just a nice escape from pressure because no one's out there, like no one's sitting on the shoreline giving you 10s and 9s and 8s, and you're not getting judged. And I think a lot of the stuff that I put my hat in the ring for, I'm getting judged on. Like I'm getting judged on how I do a run, how I'm getting judged on how I build the business, I'm getting judged on how I show up here and there and everywhere. So when I'm out surfing, there's There's no judgment, and it's a place where I can kind of escape and enjoy. And again, I love it. Probably one of the most passionate about things that I do in my life, but I'm definitely not good at it.
Yeah, that's fair. But even like if you were to zoom in on it from like an occupation point of view, and we talk about, I think we talked about this morning on the ride, like building the life that you want to do. I imagine there would have to be a level of being good at something to be able to sustain it for a long period of time, right?
100%. Yeah, for sure. I definitely think it is. If I'm really good at something, I will figure out a way to make it suit the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if it's a case in point, let's put it down to money. If it's about how well can I earn to provide the lifestyle I'm looking to achieve?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be billions of dollars or anything like that. But if I'm good at something, how do I monetize it to the point where I can do more of the things that I love?
Yeah.
That's it. And if I can get by doing the things that I love on a daily basis, that gives me cool experiences and it allows me to travel and surf or travel and snowboard or learn how to skydive.
Yeah.
Then I'll do it like that. I'll figure out a way to wear the career cap and the passion cap at the same time and make it work. And I will just figure that out because I do not want to do the everyday grind that doesn't fire me up. I just choose else.
Man, I love that so much. There was have you read Ray Dalio's book, Principles?
No.
Oh man, you would froth. It's like the founder of Blackwater, I think the investment fund is, like over in the US, one of the largest, best friends with Warren Buffett. Yep. He has this book around like investing principles, but almost like life principles as well. I talk about it on the podcast quite often because it's like my favorite passage of like reading. Cool. And essentially what he talks about, like after you make a certain amount of money to sustain your lifestyle, care for your family and whatever, no more amount of money is going to make you any more happier.
Yeah.
And essentially this whole package was all around meaningful work and meaningful relationships. It all boiled down to that.
Yep.
And I was like, after that, I was like, well, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all I have. Like once we make that certain amount of money, it's like, that's fine. Like how do we, and then you start thinking about, well, how do we actually build that life we want? If we did want to spend a certain amount of the time in the US or in Hawaii or back here or in Adelaide, wherever you want to be, spending time with friends, training, like how do we actually build that? I think that's, after reading that, I was like, my whole life, like, direction, purpose was almost like shifted towards that passage. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. And I think once you get to the point where you do realize these things and you're just like, okay, well, what does all this really mean to me? Like what if I could just choose like the perfect year, not just the day or the week, but the perfect year, what does it look like? Well, how do I sum up all of the things that I do that I really enjoy and how do I cram that into a regular basis? And then along that journey of doing those things, you'll get introduced to new things that you love as well. Like, you might be somewhere and you bump into someone who kite surfs and he goes, oh, come for a kite. And you're just like, wow, I like this thing a lot. And you might be a kite surfer for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But doing the things that you love, you'll come across new things and keep an open mind to these new things and you'll just have way cooler experiences.
What does your perfect year look like?
My perfect year looks like, I always love building a business. Like that is something that I'm really passionate about. I enjoy figuring out the problems, helping people, getting people, making people maybe inspired to try something fresh and new. So business for sure. Like I think I'll always have something there that I'm always working on. But I have to find some snow every year for sure. I got snow. Yeah, I got a snowboard. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Surf trips have to be part of the cards every single year. I have to put my hat in the ring for something really hard multiple times a year, like whether that's, a running race or an Ironman or a new sport of some description. Even one year I bobsledded. Bobsledder was.
I heard about it, which I do want to talk about in a second. Yeah.
So just something challenging, that gets me out of my comfort zone. I think that's something that scratches an itch for me. I can't really tell what it is about that. I think it's maybe a bit of a self project or something that I can show myself I can commit to and conquer. But if we were to sum all those things up and, if I'm surfing on a regular basis, visiting snow and doing all these things with friends and building successful businesses that, helped people get to their next race or get to their next goal, then I'm in a sweet spot. Like as long as I'm out there and Loz and Lucky and I are meeting cool people and having cool days and you know, enjoying each other's company, enjoying other people's company too, all at the same time. Like, and that's a perfect year for me. I don't want to be spending my year doing the old school daily grind.
Yeah.
You know, I like, you know, maybe that business side of things is, maybe I get stuck into like, I don't know, renovating houses or something like that, just because I enjoy a tinkering type of thing. And I think that comes from my dad, or, you know, working on some old cars or something like that, as well as, you know, to spend some of my time. But that's kind of a good year for me.
Has there been any times where you've really wanted to jump into something, but you haven't because you were like, I guess, a bit nervous about what other people might think? Or have you ever had those feelings, or if you've wanted something you've always in?
Yep. No.
I love that.
I've never, anything that's tickled my fancy enough. Like I've never shied away from it because I was worried about what other people would think of me doing this one thing. I was always the type of person that if I wanted to open a gym, I'll just open the gym.
Really?
If I wanted to compete in sport, I'll just compete in sport. If, you know, I remember my teachers saying to me when I wanted to all I wanted to do was play rugby league, they were just like, yeah, what about plan B? I was like, no plan B.
Yeah.
No plan B. They're just like, that's not very smart. And I was like, okay.
That's really inspiring, because I imagine there's probably a lot of people who would have that self-doubt all the time. Yeah. Do you doubt yourself at anything in sport, or does self-doubt ever enter your brain at all?
It does, but it's fleeting.
Yeah.
Because everything that I've ever committed my whole entire being to has been successful.
Interesting.
In some way. And not for the fact that I've won everything. I've lost plenty more times than I've ever won. But anything that I have committed wholly and solely to has resulted in a great time. For instance, playing rugby league was all I ever thought about for a decade. And I got to like 21 and decided I don't want to play anymore. And I thought to myself, if I quit, I quit. Shit, do I quit and my life is over? No. Have I found something else that fires me up just as much as this playing football thing? Yes. So am I happy? Yes. Okay, cool. This is great. And everything that you just learnt doing this decade of playing football has led you to have these skills, these traits, these attributes that all build you up to maybe go to the CrossFit Games and have a great crack there. Is it a win? Yeah. Cool. Great. Let's go. So nothing that I've done that I've committed wholly and solely to has resulted in I'm upset with myself.
Yeah.
It's always been a successful outcome. So even when I was like setting up the business, like the supplement business, I was like, what if this fails? What if this just doesn't get off the ground? Or what if this gets 6 months in and I lose everything? It's like, okay, go back to all your previous experiences prior to this and try and take some learnings from Little Athletics and rugby league and CrossFit. What have you done that you've committed everything to that has failed? Nothing. Great, let's go.
Yeah.
That's how I've always thought about it.
It's almost like even if something bad does happen, it's almost like you've positively reframed it into being a good one. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen with guests that come onto this episode, like this podcast. And a lot of them have gone through really gnarly times, but they've all positively reframed that experience, that event, that really gnarly thing that happened to them into being something that's good.
Always.
It's really, and it's hard to do. We had a neuroscientist on and we talked about positive reframing, and she's like, it's actually really hard to do if you're not pre-exposed and you're actually in it. But you've had so many runs on the board now where it's just second nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
Plenty of times I thought it's all over for this area of my life. It's all done. I don't know how we're going to get through the next month, but there's always a workaround. And if it does, then what?
Yeah.
And if that happens, okay, then what? Okay. And if that happens, okay, then what? But you can always go down that hole. Then what?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we make a positive outcome from that. There's always something positive that comes from things that seem negative at the time. Yeah. And I've always been the type of person that when I decided one random day that I woke up and thought I do not have to play rugby league anymore, I was so stoked with that decision. Yeah. I was not unhappy, disappointed, sad. I didn't think twice about it, and I never thought twice about it since. Yeah. And same goes for a million other business ideas that I've had that I've gone, I'm all in on this thing. It's going to be great. And then I thought, this is not firing me up as much as I first anticipated. Learn a couple of things, learn how to build this up, and great, cool.
Yeah.
And it's not, that wasn't meant to be, but I learned some cool things, and that was it. And I think, I've always been really just stoked with my decisions at the end of the day. Like, again, there are little things from day to day where it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I really should have gone and attended that thing, and didn't do it. But if you look at the bigger picture, I've never shied away from entering a sport, trying a new business because of what I thought people would think of me.
It's like you're very confident in your decision-making process.
Always,
Because I've got mates who really struggle with making decisions. People really close to my life who are like, they struggle to make a decision, where I think if the more decisions you make, the more confident you'll get out of them, whether it is the wrong decision. You might make the wrong decision. That's a learning. And so the more that you can make, I think actually puts you in a really good space. Because I think about like, okay, well, how do I be really sure of my decisions, or how do I continue making good decisions? Because that's what we want to do. We want to be making good decisions. But I think that takes time. I think that's years. I think that's where the wisdom comes from, is down the track.
Yeah. And I'm one to pull the trigger and fix it later.
Yeah.
Like, I will pull the trigger and be like, I want to do an Ironman. Great, let's go. I'll buy the bike, I'll get everything, and I'll go and do it, and I'll experience it, and be like, that was great, let's go again.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go bobsled, and that was cool for a few months, and then I was like, that's not for me.
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
It's just, I'll pull the trigger more times, and I'll fix it on the fly, or I'll learn from it. There's no wrong decision, really.
There was this really cool quote by Steve Jobs. He said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living somebody else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is the result of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
Totally agree. I think living authentically as you want to live is probably the most powerful thing you can do. And if you look at all of the things that have built you up to the spot that you're in at the moment, and you can take the best of it and try and make that your daily, weekly, yearly routine, and keep an open mind, you're going to have a great time. And again, this is all about banking experiences. Like, what do we, like, at the end of the day, I think to myself, if I'm not having fun, finding excitement, and having cool experiences and building lots of memories, like, what am I doing here? Like, what's the point? Like, what am I doing? And that can come in so many different ways. That can come from sport, that can come from business, that can come from family, that can come from having kids, that can come from, putting yourself in the deep end somewhere, and go do those things. Like, they're the things that jump me out of bed in the morning. And if I'm jumping out of bed in the morning, I know I'm in a good place. Like, I'm in a good place at that point in time. If I'm eager to get out of bed to get after the things that I'm doing on a daily basis, whether it's jumping out of bed to go up to the top of the slopes and snowboard down, or jumping out of bed to go work on the business, or jumping out of bed to build something and change something or make something cool, then I'm stoked. But if I'm wanting to hit the snooze button every day because I don't want to get up and go to a job that I have someone telling me what to do, or I'm jumping up and attacking something that I don't really want to attack, it's not for me.
Have you seen those like life calendars where it measures how you have, like, it's like there are hundreds of dots or whatever, or how many weeks, it might be like how many 100 weeks you have in your lifetime, and they put dots on how far you are typically in your life, and you look at that and you might be halfway through, like, we're number 30, we're like, okay, we're probably like almost halfway, we're probably like just around halfway. I was like, it's not a lot of time, it goes so quickly.
Fast, man.
Crazy.
It's fast.
I remember Dana White said something similar around being energized and he's like, I love what I do in the fight game. He's like, I jump out of bed and I have so much energy. He's like, I actually hate sleeping. He's like, which is really probably something we don't want to encourage, but he's just like, I don't like sleeping. I want to be out. I want to be fucking working because I love what I do so much. And you start thinking about that. Okay, well, people ask like, oh, how do I find my passion? James, like, you love CrossFit, you love building business, you love that stuff. How do I find my passion? And I think a big part of it is like, well, where's your energy? Like, what really lights you up when you talk about building bikes or triathlon or being creative and painting? It's like, What's the thing that really lights you up? Lean into that.
Yeah.
Flesh that out a little bit more. Maybe talk to crew in that space. See how you can monetize it and make a living off it, right?
Yeah, and I think people get really caught up in not wanting to pick up the phone, or not wanting to ask questions, or not wanting to put themselves out there. I was always, if I wanted something, even at like 12 years old, if I wanted something, if I wanted a job, I would jump on the phone and I would call 20 places to try and find a job. If I was like, okay, I need $500.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to go get a job. It's like, okay, how to get this job? I'm just going to call a bunch of places. I ended up getting a job at a fishing and tackle shop this morning. And I was like, but my brother, he would not get on the phone. Doesn't like speaking on the phone unless it's family. Whereas I did not care. Like, I'm never going to speak to this person ever again. What do I care about that? So if there's something that you like, something that you enjoy, something that does light you up and it gets you out of bed and it makes you excited, chase it.
Yeah.
It's always, and guarantee there's someone else who will get the excitement just like you do. And you just need to attract those people.
Mate, we've talked about a lot of like really like happy, exciting things. What do you do when things get hard? Like when you're in the thick of it, you might be too stressed. There might be a really gnarly event that's happened. How do you navigate those like really tough times?
Yeah. So I'm quite lucky in the respect that as deep as it gets for me to have really tough times like so far, and I know I'm probably preparing myself for more in the future because you can't go without them in life. But it's usually when I'm so burned out that I feel like everyone around me needs more from me. And if I'm not filling my cup and I'm filling everybody else's cup, I will go down that pathway for a long time and I'll be able to withstand it.
Yeah.
I will constantly feel like I need to do more for everybody. And then when I'm not keeping up with the things that kind of keep me in check, training, nutrition, working on the things that I like or make me excited, and I'm working on everybody else's stuff, or I'm filling those cups and I feel quite burnt out, I will go into like, I remember actually I'll go into almost like not a depression, but almost like I almost self-sabotage myself to the point where I don't want to do any of the things that light me up. Like, and I'll do it because I feel like I'm almost showing potentially the people around me or the environment I put myself in or the community I put myself in that I'm not doing so good here. And now I'm not going to train, and now I'm not going to work out, and now I'm not going to eat good, and now I'm not going to do this. And it's almost like take that, but I'm just like, it's a detriment to myself. When I get to that point, and it happens semi-frequently, it doesn't happen all the time. Like I can tell you one time where I felt very burnt out, and another time where I actually got glandular fever. I really had pushed myself a little bit too far. But in 2017, I just spent the last 5 years working towards qualifying for the CrossFit Games. And if I didn't qualify that year in 2016, I don't know if I would have done another year. Anyway, I pushed on and I competed and didn't get a great result. And then I went back and I qualified again in 2017 and I got a worse result. But I qualified for the Games. So in everybody's eyes, qualifying for the Games is great. In my eyes, the position I got, I was furious with myself to the point where I did not want to own a gym. I did not want to work out again. I did not want to touch a barbell. I couldn't think of anything worse. And I was in almost like opposite of me. Love being around the gym, love being around people, love working out, but I couldn't think of anything worse. I just said, okay, I'm not working out ever again. And I didn't train for 5 months.
Wow.
Took 5 months completely off training.
Huge for you, right?
Massive. Like I hadn't taken a day off training since I was like 12 years old. And then, I couldn't bring myself to work out. Couldn't bring myself to jump into the pain cave. Couldn't do it. And typically I like spending time there. And I was just like, what's going on? Like, what is this thing that is stopping me from doing this? And I would rock up to the gym with my bag, ready to rock and roll, ready to pull a session. And, I'd think to myself, I'm going to squat, I'm going to press, I'm going to do some box jumps, I'm going to do some toes to bar. And I would walk in the door, look around, turn around, walk back, get in my car, go home. And I did that every day for like 5 months.
Really?
And I was like, whoa, there's something going on here. And I could not figure out what it was. I'm just like, it was weird. And it didn't feel like myself. So in those situations, I think that's when I knew that I was completely stretched. Like I'd stretched myself trying to be everything to everyone for the gym, trying to be everything to everyone who expected me to train and compete and be this rock solid athlete. And then I just wasn't able to show up anywhere. I wasn't able to show up anywhere properly. I just stretched myself way too thin. And I guess I put a lot of pressure on myself. Everyone wants me to be this, do this. And so I had to remove myself from the situation. The best thing I ever did then was pick myself up and almost give myself a training holiday. So I actually went up and hung out with Tia and Shane up in Gladstone. I removed myself from the gym environment and I went somewhere where I had a lot less pressure to do anything. And it gave me a sense of relief. And I think the biggest thing is I started pushing myself to be around really good people. So the almost like the energetic puppy, it just like it rubs off on you. And I put myself in an environment where I had people like Tia and Shane who were just so fired up about going into the gym and training. It rubbed off on me hard.
Really?
And it just I almost absorbed it through osmosis. It was crazy. I just felt this sense of fire being lit within me after feeling completely burned out, and there was nothing, no drive to do a burpee at all, no drive to do a box jump at all. And then I went up there and I could just see this almost like what I felt like, say, 4 or 5 years previous in them. And I was like, oh, that's it. That feels good. Oh, that's nice. And like seeing them train and laugh and have a good time and work out hard. And then, that got me out of the rut, really. And it was just surrounding yourself with good people. It's like part and parcel of living a good life.
Wild what an environment can do, hey?
Yep.
It is so incredible.
And I went from, at that point in time, I went from being the most unfit I'd been in a decade to being the most fit I'd been. Like, I did that in 8 weeks.
How long did you spend with them?
8 weeks.
Wow.
Well, not 9 weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I went from being terribly unfit to, I think my body maybe was telling me that, hey, just take this time because you've been working out extremely hard and not giving yourself time off for a long time. You need it. And it was like 5 years I didn't really give myself a break.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't many holidays in there.
Yeah.
And surrounding myself with people that, again, the things that you like, the things that you enjoy, surround yourself with people who also can share, you can share them with, because what's the point of doing it all if you can't share it with someone?
Yeah.
And that goes with anything. That goes with your life partner. It goes with your kids. Share those times with those people. And I think connection and that social aspect is huge. Like you have a great social network of people that all are enjoying the same things that you are or showing you new things. There's almost nothing better. Like, again, my favorite time ever, sitting out there surfing with my mate Luke, wouldn't have been the same if I was by myself. I've had good surfs by myself. Nothing like that though. And then I look at another time where I had one of the best days of my life was Bustleton Ironman 2019 with 17 people from my gym. We all went out and we all did something really hard together. None of us were winning this thing. Like we knew we were just there to get around. And we all got around, and the way that you can share and reminisce and talk about, do you remember this part in the course? Do you remember this? Did you feel like this? It's like, I felt like that. That was like sharing the experience.
Yeah.
It's so much better. And so I think that took me out of the rut. I think I'd built myself to just solo train, work hard, be consistent, all those things. But then I kind of missed what it was about, and that's sharing the experience as well.
Do you try and recreate that now? Now having been in a really tough time, burnt out, not wanting to train, but it got the energy from TR and being up in Gladstone. Do you try and recreate that in your life now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for instance, if I've got a solo 10K run programmed and
whoa, what was that? Oh, I think my Siri just went off on us.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, I think if I've got like, let's just say I've got a 90-minute bike ride to do solo by myself. And then I get a message from one of the boys and they're just like, hey, we've got 4 or 5 fellas going out for a tick for 75 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You'll take it. Yeah.
I'll take that these days.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I was getting ready for competition, I would make everybody else come for the 90-minute bike ride. But now when it's not so cutthroat, I'll go for the 75-minute run to share the experience with the crew.
Yeah.
And so I will try and rope people into doing stuff with me all the time.
Yeah,
I would much prefer to do it in a group or a pair or just share the love and share the experience, because experiences are great. Shared experience are better.
Bro, I love that. I was telling you this morning how we're building the gym and the studio at our place, and that's the whole thing. I was like, imagine if we could have a little workplace where us and the team, we can work out of, we can record our podcast, but then also have a little studio where mates can come through Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right, guys, from 5 till 7, we'll be here. If you want to come and train and lift, come through. Like, I think that stuff's so exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think it's the best, and I feel like that'll inspire a lot of people to work out. You should live stream it.
But I never thought of that. Big streamers.
Just Twitch it.
Yeah, that's I always thought it because there are little bits and pieces that we might want to edit out of the podcast, and I think, well, what if we live stream the podcast, but also you could also live stream the gym session? I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah, I kind of had this idea after seeing what Justin Bieber's done with his warehouse that is elite, and he doesn't want to tour. Yeah. And all he wants to do is, hang out and shoot hoops and have chats. And then every once in a while he'll go out the back and he'll have a concert of his own and he'll live stream it. Great idea. It's like, maybe we could live stream some training sessions in a gym somewhere, and you talk to the crew about, hey, I'm about to do 5x5 back squat. Here's what I'm thinking about. And they said, it's like, okay, cool. Well, now I'm going to go do this, and they get to see what the session actually looks like, feels like, because people will say, like, I want to know what you're doing. It's like, well, here's what I'm doing. Wow.
Would you do that in here?
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'm just at the point where I would. It's like the bandwidth is getting. Yeah. But if I it's on the top of my mind, and it'll sit there and sit there and sit there, and all it will take for me to pull that trigger is someone to cross my path and say, oh yeah, I live stream and it's super easy. Here's how you do it, and then I can do it for you. But yeah, it'd be a cool thing. But at the moment, like I'm quite aware that the best outcomes for the things that I'm really, really passionate about require utter focus. Yeah. And when I'm focused and locked in, I want to be focused and locked in, and I understand distraction. Distraction is a detriment to yielding results. Yes, it's fun to think about these fresh and cool and exciting ideas, but at the end of the day, I can always do that stuff. Like I can always set that stuff up, but whilst I'm so deep into other things, it's like I need to see them through. Yeah. And I think seeing things through trains your mind to see things through.
And complete tasks.
And not leave them half done.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, because incomplete tasks don't yield many good results. Yeah. It's very rare.
Do you think there's a time when incomplete tasks, or when you're working on something and that you need to pass it in? And I don't want to say quit, but make the conscious decision, that's actually not serving me anymore, and move on.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely need to do that. I think you need to do it on a regular basis, and because there could be, you might have a priority list of say 15 things, and there could be things sitting down around the 7, 8, 9 mark that are just not serving you, but you have them there because they've been there for so long, and you need to maybe check in with yourself from time to time and say, let that go. Yeah. It's time to let that go. It's not serving you anymore, and you need to just push on to the next thing, and you need to bring 10 up to 6.
Do you have a framework or something that you can use, or that you use internally? These are the things that I actually want to get done and keep with me, and the other things don't serve me right through.
I whiteboard a lot.
Whiteboard it?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of whiteboards at home, and I will just sometimes be sitting there and being, as I do, sit in silence in my mind. Yeah. And
that's why you're so well spoken, mate. You've been thinking about this stuff forever.
I'll sit there and I'll be like, all right, so what do I love? What do I love doing? What fires me up? And I'll sit there and I'll write Loz, Lucky, the beach, surfing, fiber, training, worlds, running speed, whatever it may be, and I'll just put it there. Might just rub it off after, but at least I've gotten it out. And reading, need to find a new book. I'm eager to find a new book. You haven't looked at a new book in over 2 weeks, find a new book. And I'll just pop them up there, and if they stick, they stay there, they stay in my mind. And if they stick, I push on. And so I'll whiteboard a lot. And sometimes I'll just write down random stuff that have nothing to do with really anything. Yeah. Like the other day, I just felt quite overwhelmed with the workload, with being here, being there, being this, trying to be this. And And I just wrote just a simple line: everyone needs more from me, and had nothing to do with anything. It was on this small whiteboard that I've got. I've got about 5 whiteboards, and it just sat there. And I walked in there today, and it's like I hadn't looked at it for like a week, and I was just like, why did I write that? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the deal? It's something I need to dig into, maybe spend some time thinking about. Like, why did I feel like that at the time? And if I'm feeling like that, is that something that I need to address? Do I need to offload some things off that plate? Do I need to go back and have a check-in and go, oh, maybe 4, 5, and 6 and 7 priority lists are not serving me anymore. What do I do to rectify that? How do I make 1, 2, 3, 4 the best they possibly can? Are these suffering because of those? So I just wrote it there and left it there, and it just gives me a reference point to be like, oh, I felt like this, and if that's a recurring feeling, maybe I should address it.
I think that's probably super topical for a lot of crew. Feeling overwhelmed, feeling stretched,
These days.
feeling like, 100%, feeling like they want to be the best partner, the best dad, the best business, and then I also am training for an Ironman and a marathon block, and I'm doing HYROX, and it's like getting pulled in all these different directions, and it can be so overwhelming.
It can be, and I think, I don't know, maybe years ago, and people that are older than me can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think back in the day I was like, I'm just going to be, the best farmer.
Yeah.
And if you're a good farmer, you're also you're good dad, good husband. And it was simple, simple life. And now it's just like, oh well, to get by and to do the things that we enjoy doing these days, especially if you want to live a particular lifestyle like we do, that's exciting and fun, it all requires particular things. And I think it's just making sure that you're just on track with understanding priorities. And I think priorities are key. Like if you don't understand priorities and you're just kind of like going with the wind, you'll probably wind up in a year's time just going, oh, what did I just do with my last 12 months?
I heard, I think it was Tony Robbins or someone in that space say the exact same thing, like write down the 10 or 15 things that you want to do, build the business, be a really good dad, be a really good partner. I've actually got this side business. I actually really want to do a HYROX. I really want to do an Ironman. And list down all the big things that you want to do. And he's like, if you want to do them really well, you need to start cutting and probably pick only 3 to 5 things.
Yep.
Circle them, say these are the, and everything else goes. And I saw that and I was like, but I want to do everything. Like I want to do all this stuff. And if you don't have the team around you, you don't have the process, you won't be able to.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like you can either, I think the ways that you can look at doing all those things is either you have a team around you to allow you to do more at once, or you pick the things that you're keenest on to do first and then do the other things after. And you might get to the 4th, 5th, and 6th thing after you've done the first 3 and go, oh, they're not firing me up as much. What else is there?
Yeah.
But I do think, I've got a big list too. But I'm very much one to write that list and go tick those things off. And it's freaking, I'm gonna do that. Like I'm locking it in.
Yeah.
And I will just lock in 4 things at once and be like, that's happening on this date. I've got to go.
Yeah.
And I'll pull the trigger straight away. And that has served me, and it also has, distracted me in the past. Like I remember Shane was my coach for years and years and years, Tia's husband. And he was like, someone mentioned something in the gym one day, and I wasn't doing any CrossFit, but Tia was getting ready for the CrossFit Games after HYROX Worlds. And I went over to Nashville to train with them, getting ready for HYROX Worlds. She was also had CrossFit Games a month after that. So there was some CrossFit in the sessions that we were doing, and there's no way that I could just do the HYROX stuff. I was going to jump in and not let her suffer in the CrossFit stuff without me. So I gone there to train with her. And I did one of the HYROX workout. I did one of the CrossFit workouts, and I hadn't really touched it in like 2 years. And someone said, "Oh, you still got it?" And I was just like, "Nah, yeah, not really." And Shane was like, "Yeah, we've always wanted James just to lock in and focus on one thing." We wanted him to do this since 2017. And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, that's just me."
Yeah.
I will spread myself across a few things and try and focus hard on a few things rather than just focusing on one thing. And I understand that there's a time and a place for it, but I think I naturally will figure out a way to, and maybe it does delay how quick I can get things done to a degree, but also enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like if I really know, if I know, hey, look, the end outcome, James, is you need to get fiber to this point in 18 months time. And if it's not there, you're cutting this thing. I will lock into that until, and I'll see it through.
Yeah.
And I will just be like, okay, look, I'm going to train for health for the next 18 months. And I'm not going to set up any other businesses for the next 18 months. And I will do that if that's required. And no problem doing that. But as it stands, I'm like, I'm kind of enjoying doing this and doing that and doing this, and I'm seeing good results. And if I start to not see good results, I will figure out a way to see good results.
Yeah.
I will make it work, and I will lock in and make it happen, because I think a lot of people waste a lot of their day.
Yeah.
They waste a ton of time. And I think Lauren understands that I'm like, let's go. And a lot of the time she's just like, just need to stop and smell the roses, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. Like, let's go to the beach and take Lucky for a 90-minute walk.
Yeah.
Should be able to do a 90-minute walk with the dog.
Yeah.
You know, like should be able to do that. And then sometimes I will be able to work from 4:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night.
Yeah. Man, how are we going to get all this stuff done and surf big waves as well?
Well, that's the thing. Like, and I've said this so many times. I was like, if we can grow something big enough that everyone can just kind of just come on a massive surfing trip to the Mentawais, then we'll just do that instead. Like, that'd be good. I was like,
the dream.
I'll front that.
Give us time.
Yeah, give us time.
James, man, thank you so much for today.
My pleasure.
I've had just the best morning riding out in the Currumbin Valley, and then even here in your gym, setting up the studio. Man, it's honestly been such a beautiful morning. I've had such a great time. Thank you so much for your time, bro.
My pleasure. I've enjoyed it just as much as you.
Cheers. And that's us. Beautiful, brother.
Nice, dude.
How was that? That was fun.